me with that.
Ladies and gentlemen, the tallies are in. The most average game of the year goes to Watch Dogs!
Yeah, it's a pretty average.
Security! Watch Dogs. 2013, I was promised Watch Dogs was going to come out, basically change my life, explore what it was going to be like to live in a world with unlimited access to information, with basically no privacy, and it was going to be put into an open world game where you had great characters, great storyline. It was going to be a truly next-gen experience, kind of this masterpiece of the first next-generation games. And what we got was an amazingly average game. I can tell you from my personal experience, I put a rig together that was ready to kill this game, you know, had plenty of, just plenty of hardware to really kill it. And instead what I got was a graphically average game and a storyline that was almost cut and copy off some third grade textbook. It's really not that great. However, it's not all bad, but one of the biggest missed opportunities in this game was the characters. So what we're going to do first is look at the characters in this game and see what went wrong and what few things went right. So, the characters. We're going to start with Aiden Pierce. So, I could tell you about him, but I think it'd be better to sum up this entire character with a single portrayal. I was born in the darkness. Alright guys, I have a couple things with me right here that I think are more interesting than Aiden Pierce. First, a bottle of water. Unlike Aiden Pierce, at least a bottle of water makes me feel better when I'm thirsty. We have a jar of grape jelly and peanut butter. Because you know what? I actually like grape jelly and peanut butter. Finally, Diet 7-Up. Because at least the taste that I get from Diet 7-Up is more interesting than Aiden Pierce. Alright guys, but in all seriousness, Aiden Pierce is just not a very well put together character. You can tell that they were going for this strong, silent type, but instead we get a character who hides behind this wall of just emotional vagueness and never shows anything, never shows any emotion or anything important that makes you care about him or his character, which is just really bad in a game like this. However, on a hotter note, now we're going to talk about Clara. Bam! So when you first see Clara, you see this hacker chick, this super hot kind of punk rocker chick. So you think, man, this is going to be an awesome character. You know, just her whole look just said, wow, this is going to be someone who's cool, badass, you know, driving cars, knocking people down, beating people up, hacking shit. Instead, we barely see her throughout the game. She's just kind of a character who just stays in the background behind a computer screen. With a character like that, you got to use her. I mean, man. Listen to me, every guy wants to see a hot chick do action stuff. That's one of the things that makes action, you know, movies and games great. So you have these cool characters who add a lot to the story. And the reality is, Aiden Pierce himself is not picking up that slack. So Clara would have been the perfect addition to throw in some spice and some hotness, of course, to an otherwise drab Aiden Pierce. Now the third character we're going to look at is, of course, T-Bone. T-Bone. He's this computer genius slash anti-government type. You know, he dresses like your typical auto mechanic, and you don't meet him until a bit later on in the game. And I wish I could say more about him, but he doesn't do much in the entire game. He's there in the background. He kind of helps you out, says a couple funny lines. You kind of help him escape some bad guys, but they don't really capitalize on this character either. And I think you're seeing a pattern here of characters who just didn't get used in any meaningful way when they could have been, you know, awesome characters in and of themselves. And so we're going to close with Jordy. One of my favorite characters when I first saw him appear. He was a badass. This ninja Asian assassin guy who's going to start killing people. Instead, you see him at the very beginning and at the very end. He never got to be an assassin. So we're going to look at him real quick and see what didn't happen. To sum up Jordy in one word is just missed opportunity. He's like one of the first characters that you see in the game doing some badass stuff. He's this amoral kind of assassin type character who you think is going to be with you throughout your entire journey doing badass stuff. Instead, you see him at the very beginning and at the very end. This guy is a badass that never gets to do his thing. Put him in the game, coach. So, you know, Jordy could have been awesome. I mean, so much potential there, and he just was totally missed. So that concludes the characters, and now we're going to go into gameplay. what made this game kind of stand apart, because actually the gameplay was a pretty good facet of this game, where the characters were just definitely not. The gameplay is where Watch Dogs really shines. The cover system is awesome, kind of like this run and gun way of doing things. My two favorite weapons were, of course, the stealth pistol and the grenade launcher. Both were badass weapons that I used to take down like lots of enemies. And then secondly was the hacking system. Actually, riding cameras, blowing up grenades in people's pockets, blowing up fuse boxes. All these are really effective ways of taking down a lot of enemies who you can't take on head to head because you don't have a lot of health points in Watch Dogs. So it's actually a very good system. They really put some time and effort into it, and it really paid off. That's pretty much one of the few highlights of the whole game. It's really a cool way of doing things. So now we're going to look at the online experience, because this is supposed to be this seamless online experience where you get to connect with other people in this very cool kind of seamless way. So we're going to look at that next. So the online experience was actually also pretty well done. My favorite was the CTOS mobile challenge, where people with a mobile app, pretty much anywhere else in the entire world, you get to go against them 1v1, they're controlling the city, and you're in a car trying to roll through and hit time markers. I had a blast. I probably put 3 or 4 hours into just doing the CTOS mobile challenge. Amazingly well done. I had a lot of fun. The only kind of slight critique I have of it is that it could have been a bit harder. They could have given the mobile challenger a bit more like tools, because as it stood, other than the occasional blocker wall, I really didn't have that big of a challenge getting from place to place. So overall, pretty well done, but that's a slight tweak that maybe they could make in future updates. Also, one of the cool ones was these like 1v1 experiences where you are trying to either hack somebody or trying to find the guy who's hacking you. I mean, it's very intense. You're very nervous when you're walking around trying to hide, hoping that they don't find you. And on the flip side, if you're the one getting hacked, there's this frantic rush to find somebody in this giant crowd of moving people. I mean, it was awesome. That was really cool, really well done. They also have like racing and a few other things I didn't do all that much, but the few experiences that I had with the online was pretty good actually. So great job Ubisoft on that front. So finally, what we're going to end with looking at is the in-game challenges, like these spontaneously generated missions that Ubisoft really played up. So we're going to look at that next. One of the other highs of this game is the randomly generated missions. As you walk around the world or explore, these random just missions just pop up where you get to either take down gangs or attack criminal convoys or stop criminal activity in its tracks. It's very cool how it's randomly done, so it's not too predictable. However, with the criminal convoy, it turns into almost you using your grenade launcher to blow up 3 or 4 cars in a row. The grenade launcher pretty much made this kind of mission irrelevant. It's so easy to beat when you just pull out the grenade launcher and shoot them. I think the idea was that you were supposed to maybe drive in front of them and hack stuff to take out the cars, but I don't think anybody's going to do that. So that wasn't very well executed. The gang hideouts, however, were actually really cool. You'll randomly find a gang hideout, you'll go to a spot, and then you'll actually get directed to where the gang's hideout is. And there's a brief intro video of Aiden saying he can take this guy down because he's a bad guy, in some way. Now, once you're actually in the gang hideout, there's lots of enemies. There's a bunch of different ways to go after how you're going to get the guy that you need to take down. And ultimately, you have to take the guy down. You can't kill him, or else you fail the mission. So you have a bunch of guys. You have to go in there. Usually, you have to use a lot of stealth. Or you can sometimes even just go around the back and find the one guy you need, take him out, and then leave. And of course, they chase you afterwards. So there's a pretty cool high-speed chase aspect that actually goes in very, very well with the gang hideouts. And of course, the stopping criminals in their tracks, it gets very predictable after a while. It pops up, you go to the place, you see the victim, you see a guy kind of walking slowly up towards them, the risk bar keeps going up, and then all of a sudden, you have to chase a guy down and just kind of, beat him with your baton. It gets very boring very fast. So while that seemed really cool in theory, in practice, it really didn't play out all that well. Alright, so that's enough about the game. What we're going to do is end with kind of my final verdict, a bit of a summation of the storyline, and just my final thoughts on this game. Before I give my final verdict, I'll go briefly into the storyline. It was very average. The story basically revolves around Aiden finding the people who killed his niece, who ordered the hit, and kind of why. There's really not that much more to it than that. You meet some characters along the way, do some side missions, but it's really drab. The storyline and the characters really didn't carry this game at all. What carried the game was good gameplay, pretty good online mechanics. That's what really made this game worthwhile. So, to summarize this game, it's a 6.5 out of 10. The game really, it has so many missed opportunities. They could have really made this game great without any huge technological changes. I mean, the graphics were really subpar for what we were promised. A lot of people have noticed that the E3 demo was nothing like what we saw in the actual game. I mean, I personally was playing at 1440p, totally maxed out, and it still didn't look very good. So that's definitely a con that is just unacceptable for what Ubisoft promised. So, like I said, overall, the game is just really not that great. If you do buy this game, wait till it goes about $30, because the gameplay is fun, the hacking mechanics kind of fun, and if you get it for that price, you'll have a lot more fun playing the online aspect than the actual storyline. So with that in mind, thanks for watching the video. Feel free to like and comment if you have anything that you'd like me to add in future videos, and just subscribe to the channel if you think you want more cool game reviews. Guys, thanks for watching my very first video. This is a brand new channel all about the games, and this is my crew. My brother Forrest,
What's up?
our friend Josh, and as you see, these are both pretty big guys. I have to feed them, so please subscribe!